Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Road to Motown podcast. I'm going to be your host for this entire series. My name is Jordan Azaparty, and I cannot wait to get things going. First, and for the last time ever, I'll give you guys a little bit about me. Baseball has been in my life since I was just 5 years old. Ever since T-ball as a young kid, I have never looked back. I've been playing travel baseball, which is basically a more advanced version or league, since I was 8. I played all throughout high school. I played all throughout high school and actually just got my varsity letter. While unfortunately my time of playing will be coming to an end soon, it just marks the beginning of a new path to follow. About 3.5 years ago, I had an idea that has basically changed my teenage years dramatically. I started an Instagram page solely focused on the Detroit Tigers. Was I really, qualified at the time? No. Did I even know half about the MLB rules or what even players are on the Tigers team? Not really, but I just loved baseball, and I knew that I wanted to try to start something that just could keep me focusing on baseball more than just playing. But I had a passion for the Tigers, and I just thought, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a shot. And, like I said, it's been 3.5 years now. I think it's worked out very well. Let me just say, though, these last 3 years have been some of the best of my life. I've met new friends, learned to become a solid writer, and most importantly, learned hundreds of new things about the game. But about 2.5 years ago, into my Instagram account, I decided it was time to start something new. The Tigers had really been struggling at the time, and for the first time since creating my page, it started to kind of become a headache, or basically a chore to cover them. However, the Tigers farm system, which is basically all their minor league teams, they have lots of teams. They have 2 Dominican Summer League teams, they have 2 Gulf Coast League teams, they have a short season A-ball team, a regular season A-ball team, an advanced A-ball team, the AA Erie Seawolves, and the AAA Toledo Mudhens. So they have tons of different affiliates. But I wanted to try to start covering those teams instead of just the Tigers. I wanted to broaden my horizons because I realized that a lot of the people on the current Tigers right now, they're not going to be a part of the team when they get good again. Obviously, the Tigers are struggling right now, and they had to sign some people just to fill stopgaps while the big prospects are still developing. Guys like Ronnie Rodriguez are not going to be here when the Tigers are good again. Guys like Jordy Mercer or Josh Harrison, they're not going to be here. They're just here for 1, 2, 3 years at most. And so I thought, why keep continuing to cover those people when there's guys fighting for such little pay, but those are the guys that are going to be ready. The guys in the minor leagues, those are the guys that are going to be part of the Tigers' future. And hopefully they'll be good enough to get the Tigers back into contention. But I did not know much about those guys at all when I first got into covering the Tigers prospects. I only knew about 5 to 10 people on the prospects list, which the big prospects list that I will be probably referring to quite a bit here on the podcast is the MLB pipeline list. They come out with a off-season, preseason, and mid-season prospects list of all the Tigers prospects. They only have 30 people per team. So I think since the draft was just completed, I'm pretty sure that the mid-season list will come up probably in around a month. But I'm still going off of the preseason list, which is pretty accurate, I thought. But back to what I was talking about. I really didn't know much about the Tigers, and really the top 30 prospects list was the only reference I really had until I started watching some games and continuing to learn more and more. So, however, as I went on, I kept expanding and expanding. Now I have started to cover all Tigers affiliates. It really has been an outstanding experience. It's something that I never thought I could possibly do. But the best thing about it is you continue to learn more and more each passing day. Whether it's from watching the team, which I bought a $50 subscription to MILB.com, So I'm able to watch the West Michigan Whitecaps games, which is their single A affiliate, the double A Erie Seawolves games, which is their double A affiliate, and the Toledo Mudhens, which is their triple A affiliate. Every once in a while, I'll be able to watch a single A Lakeland game, but those games aren't televised regularly, as with the short season Connecticut Tigers. But all in all, I've been able to watch these guys quite a bit this year, and I think the best way to evaluate a player, other than maybe stats, but even I can't stand people that just use stats to evaluate players. You have to be able to watch them. There's a lot of things in baseball that do not show up on the stat sheet. You know, guys like moving players over, like with one out hitting ball to the right side to move the runner up. Sac flies don't really help average or anything, and basically leadership doesn't get shown up on the stat sheet as well. So it's always great to watch a game. While I do believe stats are really important, I don't think you could possibly judge a person based solely on stats, which unfortunately I have to do for some of these teams because I can't watch them. But I always try to find video. I want you guys to have the best representation of these people as possible. I want to be the guy that helps you guys, figure it out. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. I try my hardest to be. But some of these guys are just tough to cover. But the guys that I'm able to watch, I really feel confident that I can give you guys a solid evaluation of them. Alright, so yeah, like I said, you learn more and more each day. These prospects, unlike MLB players, they are willing to talk to you. I've been covering prospects I started in August, so it's been almost a single year now. And I've met quite a few of the Tigers prospects. These guys are very willing to talk. They don't have big egos like the major league guys do. So it's always fun to both watch them and talk to them at the same time. And there's a few guys that I've gotten to really know, like Josh Lester has been amazing. And I've actually talked to quite a few players' wives and family. It's always cool because they don't get the TV that I do to watch them play. So I've been able to give them video, which, by the way, follow my Twitter page at Tigers Prospects Video. I haven't posted on it much since, but I'm going to soon. So yeah, I'm able to give them video, and I'm able to give them solid evaluations of how each player is. Alright, so the feedback that I've received since switching from solely a Tigers page to a Prospects page has been amazing. I mean, so great. And I thought long and hard about this. I thought that I was going to be the one to come up with this name, and it was going to be great. But then I finally decided, my followers on Instagram at Tigers Prospects 01, they've been here for a long time, and they continue pushing me to keep getting better and to keep giving out better content. So I thought it would be very right to have them decide the name of this podcast, which I don't know how long it's going to last, but I hope it lasts for a long time. So I gave them the power to pick. So basically, what I did was I created a potential podcast name tournament. We got lots of great suggestions, and I put it in a big bracket and had them vote on it. At the end of the day, Road to Motown ultimately won. And I'm not going to lie, after seeing the results of the first two rounds, it was very evident that Road to Motown was going to win. And that is when I really started to buy into the name. There's so much great things about this name. Like, obviously, as you guys could probably tell by now, this podcast is going to be very, very heavy on the prospects coverage. And, Detroit is basically known for their cars and their industry, and that's how they got the Motown nickname. And the prospects are going to be on the actual, it's not an actual road, obviously, but they're going to be on the road to Detroit. And I thought that was a very good name. I can't remember who came up with it. I'll give you credit later, but I love the name, and it won by a large margin. So not only were fans involved in the voting, but some actual Tigers prospects got in on the voting too. At first, it was fun counting the few Tigers prospects or players that followed us. But now I think that basically everyone that follows this page has completely lost track. These Tigers prospects you don't understand how grateful they are until you talk to them. And I never thought I was ever going to get anybody to follow the page. I'd gone 2.5 years without getting a single Tigers player to follow my page. But since I changed into a prospects account, I've gotten 30 plus to follow. And plus countless friends and family and wives and sisters. I've gotten so much support, and it's driven me all the way to continuing coverage on Instagram and obviously now to the podcast. I promise you guys, I will try my best every week to provide you guys with both quality and interesting content. I'm hoping to start getting guests and possibly even prospects on the podcast as soon as possible. Not everything is going to be smooth sailing at first, but in time, these will keep getting better and better. Now, this will be the last time I go in detail to talk about myself, so thank you guys for listening. I know I went on for a while. I completely went off script a couple times, but I'm glad you guys are listening to this, because I think it's important to know kind of the backstory as we get into the actual content. This podcast will be all about the Tigers prospects and the Detroit Tigers themselves. Thank you guys for listening to that. So now we can actually get into the coverage that I wanted to talk about. So obviously, within the last week, their big MLB draft went on. Tigers got all 40 selections in, and everybody they picked a lot of college guys. So they're going to assign almost all of these 40 draft picks. But I want to focus mainly on the top 6, never mind, and give you guys a little bit of insight on the guys that the Tigers picked. Now, if you followed my Instagram account, you would know that I was really, really hoping that the Tigers would pick either J.J. Bleday. He was an outfielder out of Vandy, which is, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Vandy is one of the top schools for baseball in the entire USA. So I was really hoping that they were going to get Bleday. And then there was also a guy named Andrew Vaughn, I believe he was out of California. Both were big hitters, which I believe the Tigers needed, but unfortunately, they were both taken right before the Tigers at 5. I think Vaughn was taken at 3 and Bleday was taken at 4. So that left the Tigers a difficult choice. Well, actually, a difficult choice for me. I think it was a very easy choice for the Tigers because they had scouted the guy that they picked for a long time. They had a scout literally move in to the city that the kid played at and started to evaluate him a couple years ago. So the guy that the Tigers ended up going with the 5th overall pick in the 2019 draft, was outfielder Riley Green. It was tough for me at first. I really wanted the Tigers to get a college bat with their first overall pick. And Riley Green, if you guys don't know, he was drafted out of high school. So the reasons I wanted the Tigers to draft a college bat were, the Tigers rebuild has already been really difficult. For 10 years, the city of Detroit had a contending and talented baseball team. Year in and year out, they were making runs for both the division and even the World Series. They got to the World Series 2 times in a 10-year span, which is very impressive, but unfortunately it didn't work out. Right before they could take the next step, the wheels fell off the bus. As you guys know, Brad Ausmus, the Tigers manager that replaced Jim Leland after his retirement, came in and completely changed the culture. But unfortunately, that culture change went in the wrong direction. While they made it to the playoffs 1 year in his tenure, they were still swept by the underdog Baltimore Orioles and never were able to get back to the playoffs. To sum it up, Detroit is still very thirsty for a World Series trophy. If you do the math, it has been 25 years, aka a quarter century, since they won the World Series, which obviously was in 1984 with Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, and all of them. We could go on and on about that, but that's the last time they won. It was 1984. So bringing that back into current day, the Tigers have built a great future staff in the minor leagues. A pitching staff that I believe could lay the foundation for a team